Hello guys and welcome back to my channel. So we're actually like at a weird place right now. I'm just gonna explain quickly because I feel like I should, because this is not how I normally film a video. But there was a spider on the floor, and normally I film on my living room floor. I say mine, but you know what I mean. And since there was a spider on the floor, there was no chance of me sitting down there. So I'm sitting on the sofa, and this angle is kind of weird, as you can see. So I do apologise for this. This won't always be the case, but it's a little bit different. It's a little bit more cosy, I'd say. But yeah, so this is going to be my end of season review with my player ratings. Let me tell you, I've been thinking about my player ratings for like the past 3 days. I've written down a few notes and stuff, which took me 3 days. There was a lot of things that I wanted to say, and I feel like I had to write most of them down in case I forgot anything. So I think it's fair to say it's been a very disappointing season. There's not really much you can get away from that by saying it's just been very, very disappointing. And obviously the season started with hope and excitement, and basically it ended in disaster. Yeah, I'd say it ended in disaster, finishing 7th, because that is not where we want to be. I'm just going to go through like a few events of what happened this season, because there's been quite a lot. So obviously the main one, I feel like one of the main ones, Mourinho getting sacked, getting knocked out of the Europa League by Dynamo Zagreb. That was a major, major, major disappointment, and embarrassing and shocking and all the things above. Yeah, after having a 2-0 lead in the first leg, that was terrible, like major. And then obviously losing the Carabao Cup final to Man City. But there has been a few good moments, so I'm just gonna go through some of them, like. But this was like ages ago since some of these things happened. Obviously Bale returning, didn't expect that to happen at all. Højbjerg probably being one of our signings of the season, and Rhoden bringing a lot to the left back position, and Dombele being like a new signing. Massively stepped up his game, and I will always remember his goal against Sheffield United. And then there was obviously beating Chelsea on penalties in the Carabao Cup, which we don't normally win penalty shootout, so winning that was amazing, and I still remember that night. I was so happy. And then there was beating Man United 6-1 at Old Trafford. Kane and Son having their best season in a Spurs shirt. And then there's like Kane winning the Golden Boot, and then also winning the Playmaker Awards, and a lot more. Son having his best scoring tally, etc. And who can forget being top of the league? I feel like I just have to throw that in there. For a few weeks, crazy how fast things can change, considering we finished 7th in the end. I'm going to be getting into my player ratings of the season. So yeah, we're just going to start off with Hugo Laurice. I gave Laurice an 8 overall. 14 clean sheets, which is pretty good, you know. He's looked steady for most of the season. However, his form did drop for a little while, and was the main culprit of the embarrassing defensive display at Everton in the FA Cup. Overall, Laurice has been a great shot stopper and keeping us in games. Definitely one of the bright sparks this season, and also irreplaceable in goal. Again, topping the expected saves tally. But this just shows how underrated Laurice is. And overall, he has had a really good season. And ever since Ryan Mason came in, he's been at his best. As that position was really, really annoying me, and I just didn't like the way I was sitting. So we've changed positions, and I've braced it. I'm sitting on the floor, even though there's that spider, and I have no idea where it's gone. So that is happening, and I'm terrified right now. If you didn't already know, I am petrified of spiders. So me sitting on the floor right now is completely out of my character. But anything for YouTube. I need to film this video, and me sitting over there in that sort of position was not working, and I apologise. To Joe Hart, overall for the season I gave him a 6. He didn't really get to play once like we got knocked out of the Europa League. Overall, his performances have been average at best. Not done much wrong, but was beaten by a lot of long range shots, which is slightly worrying. He hasn't been like the worst backup goalkeeper, but it hasn't really been great from Hart. I don't really have a problem with him being like a backup, but I would like to bring in like a third goalkeeper. Especially like Laurice leaves, I don't really feel comfortable with Joe Hart being our number 1. So it would be nice for us to bring in another goalkeeper potentially. Moving on to Reguilon, Serge Aurier. I gave Reguilon an 8. When he first came into the team, he was really important for us. Pure quality in attack and defending, which was a major step up from what we had with Ben Davies. His crosses into the box were amazing to watch, but once he got injured and he came back from that injury, his performance levels dropped massively. The Aston Villa game stands out to me. The second time we played them. And that was probably his worst performance of the season, with an own goal and then gave away a second goal. I have no doubt next season he's going to go back to his best and be a major player for us. We'll move on to Ben Davies. Ben Davies, I gave a 6. Pretty consistent in just being average, which we've known from Ben Davies through all these seasons. He's never been too bad, but he's never going to be amazing like Reguilon will be. He lacked quality going forward, and he's definitely not going to be the number 1 left back. Not made too many mistakes throughout the season, and when Reguilon was out injured, Davies had to play every game, and he put his body line on for the team, which I commend him for. He's also had his injuries problems this season, overall an average season. And I do think there's someone we need to look at upgrading on Davies. Okay, Toby Alderweireld, I gave a 7. Definitely the best defender of the team. Definitely the best defender at the club. And this has been shown from most of his performances throughout the season. Jose did outcast him from the team for quite a while, which no one could understand why that is, and we probably never will know why that was. When you consider like the whole season, he has been the most composed on the ball and the most attacking, threatening defender with his pings from the back. His passing range, no defender has come close to his level of performance, and it's a shame that no one else has stepped up as much. But yeah, for Toby, a 7. Moving on to Davison Sanchez, who I gave a 5. Every season, he's always making the same mistakes and hasn't improved since he's come into the club. The only thing he can offer to the team is pace, but everything else you need as a centre-back, he lacks majorly. Composure of the ball is non-existent. Passing of the ball was terrible. He gives the ball away too much. And he always seems to ball watch a lot, which really frustrates me whenever he plays. However, I gotta be honest, there have been a few positive performances here and there. And he has been solid in those performances, but far too often not good enough. And it is another player who should be moving on in the summer, and I feel like there are rumours about it, so potentially it's going to happen. Moving on to Eric Dyer, I also gave him a 5. Started the season really strongly, and I was thinking, yes, this is the Dyer that could potentially be one of the best centre-backs we have. But we'll move on to why that didn't happen. Did defend well for most of the season. However, what let him down is those moments where in games he loses concentration and gives away goals, in the end costing us the team 3 points. Would have been a higher rating if he carried on his form from the first half of the season to the second half. But overall, you have to say it's been a pretty poor season from Dyer. On to Japhet Tanganga, who I gave a 6. Wasn't able to play that much, but whenever he got onto the pitch, he played well and was definitely solid. I really wish we got to see more of him on the pitch, but overall he has had a decent season. A few injuries that has put him out of contention in quite a few games. Although I do feel like he can be proud of the season he has had. Rhoden, I gave a 7. Didn't play as much as I would have liked to seen him play, but when he has been on the pitch, he's been solid and defended really well. Didn't really put foot wrong other than a few mistakes, which I feel like is normal for a player come from the Championship into the Premiership. there have been a few promising performances, and he has definitely shown the quality to become a really good centre-back. I feel like he definitely deserved to play more games. Serge Aurier A6. First half of the season, he played really well, and especially the Man United game, that stands out to me. He was sensational during that performance. I think under Mourinho, he did improve a lot and became a lot more... Wait, what am I... Right, so that... He did become a lot more solid under Mourinho in defence. However, there have been a few performances where he has made quite a few mistakes. I think that's pretty clear for everyone to see. Giving away a penalty against Leicester right at the end of the first half. The second half of the season, he went back to being inconsistent. Also unreliable in big moments in which we really need him to step up in that sort of situation. And he needs to provide quality, which he just can't seem to do. However, he has been the best right back at He has been the best right back out of him and Matt. Overall, it has been a very average season by Aurier, and a player that we need to see moving on in the summer. And now we're going to move into Matt Doggety, who I've sadly had to give him a free rating. Obviously, when Matt came in from Wolves, he brought this big reputation of a right back that arrives late in the box, provides quality going the other way. We just haven't seen any of that yet. It's been a really tough first season for him, and for whatever reason, he hasn't been able to show his quality on the pitch, which means he had a lack of game time. He also did pick up a red card in one of, was it Leeds game, I think? He did pick up a red card. His last performance against Leicester was probably his best performance of the season. And if he is to stay next season, which I feel like he's going to, he has to work on a lot, especially when going forward, because that's what we brought him in for. And there's only been one good cross into the box, which was for Kane's goal against West Brom when we won 1-0. And hopefully with like a new manager, whoever that may be, they can help him to improve and show real quality in defence and attack. And overall, it has been a really poor season, but all we can do is hope for a better one next. Moving on to Harry Winks. I've always had to give him I've had to give him a 3 as well. He has put in a few good performances here and there, mostly games in Europa League against weaker opposition. When he scored that, was it like a 54-yard goal, which was meant to be a cross, but you know, we'll just ignore that fact. However, overall, it has been shocking from Winks, and some performances have been so bad it's laughable, especially his performance against Everton in the FA Cup. That stands out to me majorly. And of course, he only played an extra time in that game. One of the worst performances I have ever seen. And he cost us that 5th goal, in which knocked us out. When watching that game, it was like he came on to make us lose. That's what it felt like watching it, and it was just so frustrating. And that's just how terrible he played. Like, me saying that just shows how terrible he was in that game. I definitely feel like Winks has been more focused on getting game time just to get into the Euros. And he's not even been close to being good enough to make the Euros, in which you see he hasn't made the Euros, and he's not really making what he's met, you know. He's so far off that sort of level performance to make the Euros because so many other better players than he is. So, you know, waste of time doing all that. His attitude has stunk all season, and I've been saying it like all along. He definitely gets his priorities sorted. Hasn't shown any quality in big games. And even when Ryan Mason came in, didn't step up whatsoever. And he cost us. Need to be looking to get rid of him in the summer. He's not good enough anymore. Like, on the way the Champions League final, yes, he was good. But It's just not anymore. Like, it's just time to move on. Okay, now moving on to Moussa Sisoko. I gave Moussa Sisoko a 4. First half of the season, he provided some solid backbone in centre midfield and protected the back four. Really real, especially when we were top of the league. The whole team were defending really well at this point, and Sissoko contributed majority to that, partnering up with Hugo, which was a good fit for a while. Something seemed to switch, which turned his performances dreadful. Not making any effort whilst he was on the pitch, like he didn't have a care in the world, jogging around and not running, which really frustrated me. If he's not putting in full commitment, then he provides absolutely nothing for the team, and he just becomes a passenger, which is what we've seen in like loads and loads of games. Moving on to Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, I gave him an 8. Definitely one of the best players of the season. However, has been overplayed, which has caused his levels to drop in some games, which is not his fault, so you can't really blame him for it. He's had a brilliant first season. The breaking up plays, passing range has been impressive, getting a few assists and even 2 goals. For first season, he's been sensational, or should I say sensational. An amazing player. I like him as a player, as a person. His mentality is exactly what we've been needing in the squad. A real leader on and off the pitch. Pierre knows exactly what it means to be a Spurs player, and even when his levels have dropped slightly in games, the effort and commitment has always been there. And it'll be interesting to see how he performs next season, and hopefully he won't have to play every Premier League game and he can save his energy. Overall, he has been a really, really good signing, and for the majority of the season, being consistent, and hopefully when a new manager coming in, he can keep up the levels of performance he was showing at the first half of the season compared to the second half of the season. Ndombele, I gave him a 7. First half of the season, he was really good, from my opinion, but wasn't able to play for the full 90 minutes. Then he got his fitness up and he became undroppable. Getting forward and back, providing good energy in the midfield, and what stands out is his performance against Sheffield United. An unbelievable goal, which showed his insane quality. And he's able to dribble around players and get out small spaces, like no other player on the team. However, something did switch later on in the season, and his levels dropped massively, like some other players. Under Ryan Mason, he barely saw any game time, and we can never really understand why that is. Maybe it has something to do with attitude. Those are like the rumours apparently, but we don't know what the actual reason is. For most of the season, he has been one of our most talented and most consistent players. The effect he can bring on the pitch is second to none, and I do think there is still more to come from Tanguy. It just needs unlocking and he will become unstoppable. Moving on to Lo Celso. Lo Celso, I've given a 6. He's had a really difficult season filled with injuries, so he hasn't really played as much as I would have liked to see him play. When he has gone on the pitch, it's been at times average, but there have been a few performances where Gio has shown his quality, like against Man City, when he came on and scored the winner. He hasn't really done enough when he's been on the pitch for the most of the time, but that also could be down to getting over his injuries. I do have, I think some people don't notice the good work that he puts in and how involved he is during the games. Provides the team with energy and runs a lot. Impressive passing range at times, and is always looking to win the ball back and get tackles in. Really effective when he's on his game, but just a shame of the amount of injuries that he has that kept him out for a while. So I just hope next season can be a fresh start for him and he can hit the ground running. I feel like there is such a quality player in Lo Celso, and he just needs to unlock it, a bit like Tanguy and Ndombele. Now moving on to Dele Alli, another player I've had to give him a 3. In terms of Dele, overall has been a very, very disappointing season with lacklustre performances, and then he ended up getting completely dropped from the team by Jose. This thing I feel like clearly caused problems with their relationship. Some comments made by Jose in the press conferences definitely showed that there were some issues, and he wasn't really happy with Dele. This season, for the most part, he's slowed the game down, loses the ball way too easily, and he's looked uninterested, looked like he lacked confidence. Halfway through the season, or maybe a bit later on, Dele found himself back into the team. mainly through the Europa League and other competitions, scored an amazing bicycle kick and his performances improved slightly. Hardly got any game time in the Premier League until Ryan Mason came in, and he gave Dele a chance after he was working hard in training. He stepped up and was showing glimpses of the old Dele, making late runs, linking up with the other attackers. And I feel like all he needed was a run of games, and I said that throughout a few of my like player ratings and like my predicted lineups and my previews. Overall, Dele has not been good enough, like I can admit that, but I still believe there is a good player in there. It's just up to him to get back to his best and improve. I do think there was an element of Dele being too comfortable at Spurs and hasn't really been chatty, and he hadn't really been challenged until Jose came in. From Bergwijn, I gave him a 5. First half of the season, he was playing really well in terms of being a defensive winger, tracking back and getting forward. Also having chances which just couldn't seem to finish. And I think that this therefore played on his mind when he was on the pitch. And things just weren't coming off for him, and I really felt sorry for him about that. And that did get a bit frustrating. The second half of the season, he only got to play. At the end of the day, he scored only 1 goal as a winger. That is like dreadful. However, I do acknowledge the role Mourinho gave him at the start of the season, and it wasn't to get forward so much, but to defend well, which is exactly what he did. Whenever he's been on the pitch, he has put in okay performances. Also, the effort has always been there. I do think Mourinho was wrong to completely outcast him from the team and not give him any minutes. I think this would have caused more conflict issues than helping Stevie. I am happy he was able to get his goal against Aston Villa. Now he just needs to kick on if he stays here next season, and I hope he does, because he's only, 23, so there's still he's still quite young. I'm going to move on to Lucas Mora. I gave Lucas Mora a 7. It's been a very up and down season, to be honest, from my opinion. First half of the season wasn't great and struggled to produce anything on the right-hand side. But I think his season started to turn around when Jose moved him into that number 10 position. It definitely turned him to one of the best performers in the team. Under Ryan Mason, he didn't really get much game time, which was a bit disappointing since we could have used his pace and dribbling ability in some of the other games. It was a decent season from Lucas, and he's been pretty consistent throughout the season, but still not quite making the impact that we need on a regular basis in the Premier League. And now we're going to move on to Eric Lamela. I gave Lamela a 6. It could be well his last season, as he's only got 1 more year left, and he has been at Spurs for a quite long time. Obviously, throughout his time at Spurs, he's suffered a lot of injuries, which has kept him off the pitch for long periods, which I feel like is such a shame, because Lamela is always a player who is... Lamela is also another player who knows what it means to be a Spurs. He's lacked quality at times, but always puts in 100% effort and commitment to the team. Frustrating at times because he keeps holding the ball for way too long. And those chances just keep passing us by when he does that. Scored an outrageous Rhoden against Arsenal, which was insane. And then he gets sent off. Kind of what you expect from Lamela, even though it was his first red card. But I am happy with what Lamela fighting hard and ruffling some feathers on the opposition. Overall, an average season, but has been a great service to the club. And if he is to leave in the summer, I do wish him all the best wherever he does end up going. Now we're going to move on to Gareth Bale. I gave Gareth an 8. Obviously, he came into the season injured, so had to wait for him to get over that. And then we had to wait for him to get match fit. When he did finally get on the pitch, it wasn't great. And he didn't really provide the team with anything major. The second half of the season has been a completely different story. He was back to somewhat of his best. Pass ability, outstanding. Scoring, assisting. Linking up well with the other attackers like Kane and Son. Providing impact from the bench at times and some games when starting. He has made a difference in most games that he's played. Getting a hat-trick against Sheffield United. And his all-round play became brilliant. Should have played more this season and we could have finished higher up in the table. For whatever reason, Jose didn't seem to trust him at all. Overall, a pretty good season. And to finish with 16 goals is amazing. And also with the highest, I think it was highest scoring ratio or something. It was pretty impressive. And he got us the win against Leicester, which helped us finish above Arsenal. And I do hope Bale is with us again next season. Harry Kane, obviously, I feel like we can't give anything other than Harry Kane a 10. So he's got a 10 from me. What a season. Golden Boot winner, Playmaker of the Year in the Premier League. Definitely been the best player in the Premier League, no matter what anyone says. And I do hope he wins that award for best player in the Premier League. Definitely upped his game massively. Always maintained his standards like always. But most of his teammates have let him down this season. A constant professional, no matter what was happening inside the club or outside. Gave his best for the team and sometimes single-handedly dragged us through games. I feel like Everton's one of them, and I feel like Newcastle's one of them. And he's definitely a player you can rely on. The goals and assists have been nothing short of amazing. And it's a shame the rest of the squad couldn't keep up with his standards. From start to finish, he's been fire, and his partner Rhoden fire. This season added another element to the team and both of their performances. I say no more, except I hope he will be with us next season. A player like that is irreplaceable, and he has everything in his game. Defending, literally, he best attacker, best defender, best midfielder, best basically everything. Carlos Vinicius, who I gave a 6. On loan from Benfica, whenever he's been on the pitch, he's scored goals and basically done what he's brought in to do. However, he didn't really get much game time in the Premier League, which was a shame. He did actually get like 1 goal, which I was super happy about against Villa. But his overall gameplay wasn't great, which was a shame. It didn't really have much quality on the ball. It was like hit up to him, it would bounce off him, which got really frustrating in certain games, especially when you'd want 2 strikers up front and one of them wasn't really working out. Apart from that, his overall contribution has been good, and I've been happy with Carlos. Not to mention everything he's gone through in like his personal life, and to like come to a new country and not speak the language must have been really difficult for him. I feel like he did remain professional throughout the loan spell and always showed so much passion for the team. Overall, it has been a decent loan, but I can't see Tottenham keeping him on and buying him for a permanent deal. So I do feel like Vinicius will probably go back to Benfica, wherever he gets loaned out again. Who knows? Moving on to the last player in the squad, Son Heung-min, who I gave a 9. Highest goal output, highest assist output. Part of the duo of him and Kane making a Premier League record. I just had to throw that out there. Completely outscoring his XG by double, which is insane, and it just shows how amazing he's been this season. He's been phenomenal. In terms of like quality and ability, just a tiny bit from Harry Kane, because his form did drop in throughout like a month or so in certain games. So if he did keep up his levels for the rest of like he did for the rest of the season, then it definitely would have been 10 from me. But he's definitely shown like what a world-class player he is, and no one can doubt him anymore. No, if anyone's doubting him, just don't talk about him. Don't talk about him, because you can't doubt him. You can't doubt the talent you see on the pitch. One of our most consistent players. And another than his form dropping slightly in front of goal. He definitely would, as I said, would have got 10. Some of the goals he scored have been sensational. Against Arsenal, and that Arsenal goal was insane, and I still watch it, and I'm still watching it, and I just can't believe how he scored that. And there was also another one against Sheffield United, which is insane. Like the goals he scored, he's just, I can't get over it. And I just have one more thing to say about Sonny. Sign that contract. Just sign it. Please just sign it. Because if Kane leaves, we can't have you leaving too. So Sonny, please just sign that contract. If you haven't already, just sign it. Sign it. We want you to stay. And so those are all my player ratings. I don't know what rating to give like Mourinho, because I feel like I wouldn't say what's happened is like all his fault, but there is some part of him that he's got to take, some part of the blame that he's got to take, obviously, but I don't know, like, maybe a 4 or a 5? Because other than that, Everton, like the first game of the season against Everton, for like the first sort of part of the season, we were good. But then something switched, and I don't think he lost the dressing room. I just think some players just weren't good enough, and it sort of showed after a while. Maybe the tactics ended up switching too many, or keep switching the back line. I don't know, but yeah, from Jose, it was it was a mistake to sack Pochettino and then bring Mora in. Obviously at the time I was really upset when Pochettino got sacked, and then eventually I got over it, and then Mourinho was here for like a little while, and then I was like, okay, so we're getting results and things are going well, and like, so I was just like, yeah, so maybe it was the right decision to sack Poch. But then things fell apart, and I was just like, yeah, the quick fix, there's no quick fix, we need a rebuild. And Pochettino was right, and he definitely should have got sacked. So that's why I'm hoping he can come back for next season and do that rebuild that he wanted to do before he got sacked. And Daniel Levy, if you see this, just give him whatever he wants. Just give it so we can come back. Like, I've seen that he wants like a 4-year, like at least a 4-year deal, and like he wants full control of that transfer stuff. So I'm speaking to Daniel Levy. Just give it to him. Like, you're not good at transfers. Like, you're no good, and the recruitment is shocking. So if you give Pochettino the full power, and then please just do it, okay? To get him back to his football club, just give him whatever he wants. So that's Mourinho. Moving into Ryan Mason a bit. Ryan Mason, I'd give a 7. Obviously, started out against Southampton. We ended up winning 2-1. There was that Wolves performance, 2-0. The Carabao Cup final was a bit of a damper. Obviously, the lineup could have been better, but I do think the game in the second half of that final was pretty even. So, you know, here we go. Leeds game wasn't that great, losing 3-1, and then like losing against Aston Villa 2-1, which kind of just sticks on Rhoden mostly just because of his mistakes. And then the Leicester game, I have credit to him because we were losing 2-1, and then to have 10 minutes left and win 4-2 was insane. So in terms of Ryan Mason, a 7. I feel like he did really well, and I'm super happy that he got the chance to be like interim manager, and hopefully in the future he does become Spurs manager. Or if he looks to become manager somewhere else, I wish him all the luck. Or if he just stays at Spurs, wish him all the luck. But yeah, so there is my player ratings. God, my throat really hurts from all that talking. I don't think I've talked as much as I have right now. But yeah, so that's my player ratings. Do be sure to let me know in the comments below your player ratings for the whole season. If you agree with mine, if you don't agree with mine, and we can have a little discussion in the comments. But yeah, I really do hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment and subscribe. And I will see you guys very soon. I don't entirely sure. It'll probably be like a reaction or something. I also am filming of like a signings we need to make in the summer sort of video. So if you want to see that, give this video a thumbs up. And yeah, I'll see you guys very soon with another video.